Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Nursing News You Can Use live at 5. It is December the 18th, 2024. Thank you for tuning in today. I want to apologize for missing last week. I had to cancel our live due to a family emergency, but all is well. So we're back here again this week. All right, so I want to start off with our affirmation for today. Everything I touch is a success. Prosperity of every kind is drawn to me. Everything I touch is a success. Prosperity of every kind is drawn to me. That's from the Louise Hay 2024 calendar. Looking forward to what's happening in the future. And so, as I say, if you start out with the positive, things will be a whole lot brighter. Let's go ahead and get with our news for today. We have a few stories to share with you. This first story is from The Guardian. It says Uber for nursing, alarm over use of AI to aid U.S. nurses and healthcare. A new report published on Tuesday is sounding the alarm on the rise of Uber for nursing, a growing gig industry in which artificial intelligence is being used by hospitals and other healthcare facilities to aid nurses. The report published by the Roosevelt Institute argues these apps encourage nurses to work for less pay, fail to provide certainty about scheduling and the amount or nature of work, take little to no accountability for worker safety, and can threaten patient well-being by placing nurses in unfamiliar clinical environments with no onboarding or facility training. The report comes after the for YouTube unaliving of Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, the largest healthcare insurance in the U.S., has incited debate and anger over the flaws and immense costs of the U.S. healthcare system. 29 workers interviewed reported having to pay fees to bid on shifts and winning those bids by offering to work at lower pay rates than other workers. Others reported experiencing app issues that resulted in missed pay for the work they did. We have so many facilities that are stuck between a rock and a hard place and turn to these gig nursing apps as a short-term solution, said Dr. Katie Wells, senior fellow at Groundwork Collaborative and co-author of the report. We have a problem with care. We don't pay it well enough. We don't take care of these workers in a way so that they can take care of their families. And that's why so many of these workers, they turn to the gig economy because they need some semblance of control over their own lives because they haven't had it otherwise. And I have to say that, with the emergence of these new apps and things like that, there's the flexibility of being able to pick your shifts and what you like to do, is an incentive for a lot of nurses. But I'm taken aback by the fact that you have to bid on this shift and, accept lower wages. I don't think that's the intended outcome. And then there's a possibility if you're working in a place where you're unfamiliar and it does become unsafe for you as an individual nurse, but also for the patients and the risk for making mistakes and things like that, to me, would seem to outweigh any monetary gain that you might get. So let's see what it has to say. So the interview workers explained that often work shifts in facilities where they have received no training and aren't familiar with the operations or where supplies are located. Several also said they have had to bring and use their own medical supplies for patients, such as stethoscopes, thermometers, and blood pressure monitors. They also claim that they are often treated poorly by permanent staff at the facilities where their shifts are located and given the most difficult job tasks, and the gig model puts costs often incurred by their employer, such as taxes, uniforms, supplies, and benefits like health insurance, onto the worker. So that's a little bit different and no different than going through a staffing agency, because when I worked as a agent in agency, that was another problem, is that a lot of times the nurses were burnt out and they're a little bit resentful because they perceive you to be getting the higher pay, but according to this article, they may not be getting the higher pay. And so they will oftentimes give you the cold shoulder or maybe give you the worst assignments because you know what, they're tired of having that assignment and they want to pass it off on somebody else. And so there's a two-way street to that, and this is not an uncommon phenomenon, unfortunately. So the report argues that a person who is not familiar with a hospital, its patients, its patient histories, or its management structures can just arrive one day, pick up from the previous worker who finished their shift, would be unimaginable only a few years ago. Gig companies and nursing surged in popularity coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, and industry claims of nursing shortages, though the report noted that the U.S. currently has over 5 million licensed registered nurses, more than ever in the U.S., and claims understaffing in workplaces and issues in hiring and retaining nurses are due to workers refusing to accept poor pay and poor working conditions. And that is an argument that I have made all along, and those of you who watch the show know this, that part of the issue is it's not a shortage of nurses, it's just a shortage of nurses who's willing to put up with what some employers are allowing to happen. It says human frailty, the essential subject of nursing, defies algorithmic, I'm sorry to say that, management, according to the report. Um, so I want to encourage you to head on over to The Guardian and take a look at this and see where you can get more information about this. This is a very important report. But if you're working in one of those gig jobs and on those apps, let me know, nurses, how that's going for you. And if you're having those same struggles of, having to bid on jobs and take less pay, and of course having to cover your own insurance and malpractice insurance and things like that. And so you're still responsible for the care that you give or the lack thereof. So make sure that you take care of yourself out there. All right, let's move on to our next story. This is coming from Fox News, and it says half of a million patients' personal info stolen in massive healthcare data breach. This is sobering, and again, something that we've heard over and over again. It keeps continuing to happen. But it says data breaches happen all the time. And while no data breach should be ignored, those involving healthcare institutions require special attention. These breaches can be very damaging and haunt people for life. Recently, hackers leaked the personal data of around 500,000 Americans. They breached the databases of the Center for Vein Restoration, or CVR, which claims to be America's largest physician-led vein center, stealing not just personal data, but also medical records. And one of the things that I often talk about is how cybercrime is including medical data, and people will go in and pretend to be you, get procedures, your insurance company gets billed, and then maybe you have to go in and say, hey, I need my gallbladder taken out. And they say, well, according to your records, you already had it done. And so then that can cause some issues. So let's get more into the story. It says a CVR clinic headquartered in Maryland experienced a massive data breach where hackers stole highly sensitive personal information, including lab results and health insurance details. The breach occurred in early October, with the clinic detecting, quote, unusual activity in its systems on October the 6th. CVR has more than 110 branches across the country, from Alabama to Alaska. This breach has affected hundreds of thousands of individuals. According to a notice filed by CVR with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office for Civil Rights, more than 445,000 people had their personal information compromised. The full list of exposed data includes addresses, dates of birth, social security numbers, driver's license numbers, medical record numbers, diagnoses, lab results, medications, treatment information, health insurance information, provider names, dates of treatment, and financial information. So here are some of the things that they suggest that you do to help monitor you if you have such a data breach. One of the things that you can do: regularly monitor your financial and medical accounts. So review your medical records and health insurance statements to make sure that there's nothing that popped up there like a surgery that you never had. Use your patient portal so that you can access your medical records online and get timely updates of what's happening. Use strong passwords and two-factor authentication. And this is something that I, every time I have to do that and put in a number or an extra code, it is an inconvenience. Yes, I get it, but I'd much rather do that and have my information be safe. And so I encourage you to use that two-factor authentication and using those strong passwords. Don't fall for phishing schemes and use strong antivirus software. So be mindful of the information that you share online and with whom you share it. So I happen to be working with an online group on one of their pages, and I often have to tell people, hey, I know you have questions about your test results or something that your doctor has given you. And now that we have access to my chart and other platforms like that, don't put screenshots of your information on there because one, we can see your name. Two, sometimes it has your date of birth, your medical record number, the facility that you went to, your personal information. So I know it's convenient to do that, but don't do that because in a public forum like that, that information can be stolen and used. Use identity theft protection services. So if you need other services, and I think everyone does at this point, as we could say, it happens so often. Make sure you use that identity theft protection services. And those of you who are interested in that, I do have a platform and that can help you with that. If you are interested, please message me. I'll be happy to share the website and you can sign up for yourself to use identity theft protection that has a guarantee to get you back to pre-breach status. Having experienced that myself, it is great for peace of mind. You can also freeze your credit. That's one of the things that you can do so that no one can open credit cards or any other things or purchase things without you opening it back up. I know there's a hassle to do that, but these are some of the things that you can do. And so if you have further information or further questions, please, hit me up. I can share this link to this article, but also, again, share the information on how to get affordable identity theft protection to protect you and your family. And yes, in full disclosure, yes, I do offer that as a product. So I want to let you know that as well. So I'm all about being very transparent. Yes, I do get paid for that, but I also have used the service and I can tell you about it. All right, let's go ahead and take a brief break and then we'll get on to our next story. Attention nurses, are you ready to step into your power and transform your career? Introducing the 5-day Nurse Entrepreneurship Challenge, your fast track to building the business of your dreams. In just 1 hour a day, you'll learn how to find your niche, build a business plan, market like a pro, and launch your dream business with confidence. This challenge is for nurses who are ready to make a change, take action, and create a life of freedom and impact. That's December 30th, 2024 through January 3rd, 2025, 12 p.m. Eastern. Register at the NurseSharkAcademy.biz. Your dream business is waiting. All right, let's get on to our next story. This is coming from, I believe it's The Hill. Yes, The Hill. Lawmakers seek to rein in PBMs as part of spending bill's sweeping health deal. Lawmakers have agreed to attach a sweeping healthcare package to a year-end stopgap government funding legislation, according to text obtained by The Hill ahead of the release of the full bill. The health portion contains pharmaceutical benefit manager or PBM industry reforms, extensions of Medicare telehealth flexibilities, reauthorizations of legislation to prevent pandemics and address the opioid crisis, payments to community health centers, a rollback of physician payment cuts, and other policies. The inclusion of more than 500 pages of health provisions in the spending bill will likely infuriate some conservatives who generally oppose omnibus legislation, but the health provisions show bipartisan agreement after significant back and forth between Republicans and Democrats. The PBM changes represent significant guardrails on the business practices of the industry, something that's been a bipartisan priority for years, but until now never made it to the finish. The three biggest PBMs are United Health Group's Optum Rx, CVS Healthcare's Caremark, and Cigna's Express Scripts. Those companies represent about 80% of all U.S. prescriptions. The industry has faced intense scrutiny on Capitol Hill this year, and essentially every committee with jurisdiction over healthcare drafted PBM reform legislation. So for those of you who may not understand what it is that the PBM are kind of like the middlemen. They buy up from the pharmaceutical companies all the drugs. Then they set the prices that they're going to sell the drugs, and they take their cut. And so when you go to your local CVS, they've received that drug that's on that PBM. And if they decide that they like one drug better than the other, they'll put them in different tiers. And so you may pay for more at one pharmacy than another pharmacy. You may pay more if you're on one health plan and another health plan, depending on what they like. And then there may be prior authorizations. And this is how all of this happens. And so you have the three biggest companies in the US controlling most of the medications out there in the prescriptions. Okay. So the package includes a ban on linking PBM compensation to a drug's Medicare list price. Lawmakers and PBM critics say higher drug prices lead to higher fees to PBMs. The higher the price of a covered drug, the steeper the potential discount, some of which PBMs keep as profit. The bill also requires PBMs to, quote, fully pass through 100% of drug rebates and discounts to the employer or health plan. Another section would change how PBMs get paid by Medicaid for prescription drugs, banning a practice where the company keeps the difference between what they pay a pharmacy for a drug and the amount they charge a health plan for the drug. PBM changes will save money and are meant to help pay for some other provisions, including a reversal of most of the cuts to physician pay in Medicare that the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services finalized in November. The package includes a 2-year extension of pandemic-related Medicare telehealth flexibilities that allow beneficiaries to use telehealth services even if they don't live in a rural area. So it is nice, and a lot of people have become accustomed to the convenience of seeing their provider through a video chat or video visit or through telehealth. And every year now, they have to re-up those provisions because it's not permanently in the package. It also reauthorizes the Opioid Fighting Support Act for 5 years and the Pandemic and All Hazards Preparedness Act for 2 years. So we'll see what happens with this important bill, but keep an eye on this, and you can certainly check at the Hill for more information. So here's another story. This is sad. I don't know what to make of this one. So those of you that are in this area, let me know what's going on. But this was something else. So this is a local news channel, CBS News channel. And it says police swarm Colonial Heights nursing home and arrest multiple employees. This is Colonial Heights, Virginia. Colonial Heights police arrested multiple employees at the Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center Wednesday morning, charging them with crimes ranging from abuse and neglect of vulnerable adults to falsifying patient records. The arrest came after police say a 74-year-old patient was hospitalized due to inadequate care received at the facility. Okay, so let's go on. 18 staff members have warrants issued against them, including the director of the center and a nurse, both of whom are currently in custody without bond. So I want to let that sink into you, because I've been sounding the alarm on this, and I've been saying for a long time that not only are civil penalties a possibility, but now we have criminal charges as a possibility. Okay. So Major Rob Ruxer of the Colonial Heights Police said, we have secured warrants on 18 individuals who are staff members at Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. So I'm like, if you arrest 18 individuals at a nursing home, are you going to be creating the conditions in which other residents become neglected because all the staff's in popo and clink? I don't know. So that was my first thought. It's like, okay. So more charges could be forthcoming as the investigation continues. So the series of arrests followed an investigation launched by the police in October after Adult Protective Services reported a potential elder abuse case. Multiple local and state agencies, including the State Attorney General's Elder Abuse Task Force, are involved in the ongoing investigation and were present during the arrests. According to police, charges include both felony and misdemeanor counts, including the abuse of vulnerable adults, falsifying patient records, and obstruction of justice. CBS 6 cameras captured evidence bags being removed from the facility. During the investigation, our investigators, as well as individuals with the Elder Abuse Task Force, have secured and served multiple search warrants on the facility in order to obtain medical records. One nurse has been charged with 5 counts of misdemeanor falsifying patient records. This is what makes me take a pause, because I have heard it has been alleged in court and deposition and I can't say this about any particular facility, but as a legal nurse consultant, where some facilities may have what they call documentation parties, and the nurses come in and just fill in the holes. If you may not have been working that day, you will get found out because they can pull the employee records and show that you weren't even there. So how could you give care if you weren't on the clock? So I'm encouraging you, nurses, protect yourself. Do not engage in such behavior. And if you're at a facility where this is going on, find another job. It is not worth your license, and it's not worth the jail time. Okay. So let me go on. It says the Virginia Department of Health has staff on the ground to ensure that all residents are receiving proper care and will remain involved to ensure that the proper individuals are placed in leadership positions moving forward. So then I have another question about this, because then I'm saying this. I'm like, okay, so you're getting the administrator, the director of nursing. What about corporate? Because oftentimes they're going after the individuals that are on the front line, but they're not going after the real culprit, which is corporate, which a lot of times dictates what happens downline. They tell them things to do and cut back and how much stick is in all these different things. And they have to answer that. And a lot of times the administrators, the director of nursing, their bonuses are tied to meeting budgetary measures. Why are you not going after corporate for this? But let's go on. So those are questions that I have. And again, I'm reacting to this in real time with you. And again, everything I say is just a comment. I am not giving any legal opinion on any pending litigation at all. I don't know anything about this as far as the particulars of this case, but I'm reacting to the story. So I just want to share that with you as well. So Colonial Heights police are still working to apprehend all 18 individuals and are requiring assistance from the public. So CBS 6 previously reported that Colonial Heights facility in July, when the Virginia Department of Health Office of Licensure and Certification looked into the nursing home following a CBS 6 investigation. The investigation uncovered 4 instances where the facility violated federal rules. So there's an additional article on that. I don't know exactly what federal rules they violated. I didn't get a chance to link up to this, but I'm curious now. Let's see what it has to say. All right. So this is CBS 6 in Richmond. This is the article. It says from back in July, it says the Virginia Department of Health Office of Licensure and Certification investigated Colonial Heights after a CBS 6 investigation into an attack on a social worker by a resident, and filed 4 instances where the facility violated federal rules. CBS 6 shared that the voice of a former head of social work at the facility, Casey Ortez, last May. She was assaulted by a patient at the facility, but no legal action could be taken because of the patient's mental state at the time of the attack. She stated, I kept asking the patient to let me go, and he said no, that I needed to perform oral things on him. And he would just not let me go. I was very scared. The assault led Ortiz to forego her dream of becoming a nursing home administrator for good. She said, it's hard for me to leave something I absolutely love. I will never pursue it at this point. Hopefully that she'll be getting the help that she needs, and maybe can return to it later. Colonial Heights Commonwealth Attorney Greg Collins said he could not pursue the case because of the patient's mental state at the time of the attack. So a frustrated Ortez shared her story with CBS 6, highlighting what she saw as glaring safety issue. While the facility provides short-term rehab and long-term care, Ortiz said she was there with more than 20 psych patients lived on site. So here comes to the issue. Our job is not to manage psych patients. We are not equipped to do that. As a direct result of the report, the Virginia Department of Health Office of Licensure and Certification went to the facility unannounced 3 days after the story aired and initiated an investigation. While they were there, they received the files for 24 residents and found the facility failed to investigate one and report 2 allegations of abuse involving one resident to the appropriate regulatory agency on 10 occasions, even after episodes of violence, inappropriate touching, and offensive comments. Staff failed to request a reassessment of the pre-admission screening and resident review for a resident with a known psych history. The screening is a requirement to ensure that people with mental illness are not inappropriately placed in a nursing home for long-term care. The facility failed to ensure 12 employees had the appropriate competencies and education to provide for the behavioral health needs of residents with mental health disorders. A month and a half after the inspection, VDH followed up with the center to ensure they corrected the deficiencies and found all problems were corrected. However, that follow-up was an off-site paper review as opposed to an in-person visit. Colonial Heights received a 1-star and 5-star rating on Medicare.gov. They asked the facility, CBS did it, what it was doing to ensure it properly cared for the patients with psych issues and how it is protecting staff and patients from safety issues involving residents with serious psychiatric problems. Colonial Heights Administrator Shawanda Jeter sent the following statement when asked about the VDH investigation. Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center strives to provide high-quality care to all residents. Our staff completed a plan of correction, which was accepted by VDH CMS for the deficiencies that were stated in the survey on 5/12/2023. We have remained in compliance with this plan since June 20th of 2023. Our team of caregivers continue to receive training related to the caring for residents with mental illness, and those residents that display behaviors related to mental illness are reevaluated by our physicians and psychiatric providers as needed. The recommendations made by these providers are followed to ensure optimal care is given to our resident population. So that is a story that they had talked about and referenced. So they are finding themselves in the limelight again, and now you've got 18 people that are being arrested. So again, I'm saying I don't know if the lady in the story from July is the one that was arrested, the director of nursing. I don't know. They didn't list any names and that, but we'll keep an eye on that. But I'm telling you, nurses, protect yourself, protect your license. Do the things that you are supposed to do because nobody else will protect you if you don't protect yourself. On that note, let's take another break and then we'll get to our last stories. Come feel the sun at the Nurse Shark Academy 5-day Nurse Entrepreneurship Challenge. Are you a nurse dreaming of something more? A career where you call the shots, follow your passion, and make a bigger impact? With our 5-day Nurse Entrepreneurship Challenge, you can transform your skills into a thriving business. Learn how to find your niche, build a business plan, market your brand, and scale your business all in just 1 hour a day. It's time to take control of your future. Start your entrepreneurial journey today. You already care for others. Now it's time to care for your dreams. I did it, and so can you. Your future awaits. Don't let another day go by wondering what if. Take that first step toward the life and career you deserve. Come feel the sun and sign up at the NurseSharkAcademy.biz today. All right, let's get into our last couple stories here for today. I feel like that one was kind of a heavy story, right? All right. Okay. This is our last story for today, and this is coming from Skilled Nursing News. And it says, rethinking medical director services, a strategic imperative for SNFs. The skilled nursing industry is experiencing unprecedented change. As facilities navigate rising patient acuity and evolving regulatory requirements, forward-thinking operators are finding success by collaborating with value-based care organizations that can provide comprehensive medical director services, and the results are transformative. Tasha Jansen, a nurse practitioner, vice president of operations for Carana Health, says the complexity of post-acute care has increased significantly, with facilities now managing acuity levels previously seen only in hospitals. This has elevated the medical director role to unprecedented importance, and specifically in ensuring quality care delivery. That's where partnerships with value-based care organizations like Carana come in. We have a proven track record of delivering comprehensive and holistic patient care, driving better outcomes and streamlining facility operations. The medical director role has always been an administrative in nature. And this is something that a lot of times attorneys um, question when you have when nursing homes get a suit. This is one thing that brings up: what's the role of the medical director? Was this person actively involved in helping direct the policies? All those different questions come up. So let's look at this. So it says the medical director role has always been administrative in nature, focusing on overseeing and guiding the care that skilled facilities SNFs provide. However, today's healthcare environment also calls for medical directors who can serve as engaged partners in facility operations, bringing clinical expertise, regulatory knowledge, and data-backed insights to support high-quality care delivery. Medical directors benefit from deep knowledge of CMS regulations to ensure the facility's compliance. Additionally, their active participation in quality assurance and performance improvement meetings, regular review of cost and utilization data, and frequent facility rounding services support continuous success. Jansen says when medical directors combine regulatory expertise with active engagement in quality improvement initiatives and real time clinical support, we see measurable improvements in both patient outcomes and facility operations. This, in turn, can lead to more referrals from area hospitals, helping your facility maintain and improve occupancy. One example of modern medical directorship success comes from CARE Initiatives in Iowa, largest provider of skilled nursing care. Until 2020, CARE Initiatives employed local providers as medical directors across their facilities, but experienced mixed outcomes. This led them to partner with Corona Health in 2021, bringing the organization's enhanced medical director services and comprehensive approach to care to several of their facilities. Very quickly, CARE Initiatives saw improvements in several quality metrics, including reductions in falls, pressure ulcers, antipsychotic medication use, and hospitalizations. Corona is truly boots on the ground with their medical directors and nurse practitioners frequently rounding in our buildings. They also provide 24/7 access to clinicians if questions arise, which is crucial for providing timely care for our patients. We have seen improvement in customer satisfaction as it relates to easy access to providers. Corona also assists in having conversations with residents and their families as it relates to advanced care planning, which helps everyone understand expectations of care. This is from Johanna Vohm, Vice President of Clinical Services at CARE Initiatives. And so, as a person who served in nursing homes and at the time was serving unofficially in the medical director role, I can certainly see where that is very beneficial. As a person who went to the quality care meetings, was a liaison between the physician's office and the families a lot of times, to help the staff troubleshoot what was going on. It was a very, very busy time, and I can see having a strong medical director would be very important to help them with this process. And so I know local providers are often tasked with following their own clinical practice or seeing people in the hospital. Sometimes they're also running the hospitals in the morning, then they're going to see patients in their office, and then trying to swing by the nursing home on their way home. And that's really not as conducive to good care. So I understand the need for this initiative, and I applaud the role of seeing medical directors in long-term care being more in the forefront, a very viable position and something that should be aspired to. And so I support that as an independent practice model. It says that the healthcare industry shift toward value-based care models continues to evolve, and medical directors play an increasing crucial role in SNF success. Facilities that embrace enhanced medical director services through strategic partnerships are positioning themselves at the forefront of providers who understand their unique metrics and quality standards of post-acute care. So this article is in Skilled Nursing News. If you want to read more about this, but I have to say, again, as a person who served in a lot of those roles, I worked with physician practices as their nurse practitioner, and oftentimes I'm the one that would have seen the patients the most because I'm in the buildings the most, and would handle the day-to-day practices of what's going on. And then the physicians would come in and do their thing and swing on their way out because they were covering either multiple buildings or they had their own busy clinical practice. So I applaud this because I think it would do a lot for long-term care to have a dedicated clinician that is there. It may not necessarily have to be a physician, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from the doctors about this, but it doesn't have to always be a physician in that role. But they do need to have a dedicated person to help them with those issues. So we'll see how this plays out, and we'll go from there. All right, so let's get into some announcements because I want to go ahead and share some things you've already seen. If you've been following along, you've already seen a couple of our little promos there for the 5-day challenge that's coming up. I'm excited. I am excited. It's coming up in less than 2 weeks. So starting December the 30th through January 3rd, we'll be meeting 12 p.m., 12 noon Eastern time. It will be live streamed on our Nurse Shark Academy Facebook page, our Nurse Shark Academy YouTube channel, and on our LinkedIn page. We'll be viewing our challenge. You don't have to, spend a lot of time. We're going to meet for 1 hour. Nurses are busy. I get that. But I thought, why not take your lunch break and get some good ideas to get you started in your business and get you started in 2025. And for the tickets complimentary, all you have to do is sign up and register so you'll get the information. It's going to be live streamed. But for those of you that want a little bit more, there's a chance for you to be VIP. And when you get VIP access, you get access to the Zoom, which will be after the event. So there'll be a live Zoom where you can ask questions. We can do some guidance. If you have your business started, you have something going on. Each day will have a little bit special for you. Also, if you're a VIP, you'll get the accompanying workbook that goes along with our challenge. So if you're really looking to get into starting your business, or maybe you have to revamp some things in your business or rethink your business, this is a good chance to do this. It's a good time to do this as we kick off the new year. Let's get that done. And so we'll give you actionable content on those days. I believe in giving you something that you can take and move forward with. And of course, there'll be opportunities for you to join us in the Nurse Shark Academy should you feel you're ready to do so. There's opportunities for that. If you want to work with us to help you get to where you need to go, we'll be happy to do that. So I'm excited about it. I've been waiting for this 5-day challenge because I've been thinking about it. Past couple of years, it's been like our kickstart, the new year, but this is, let's just jump into it, right into the trenches. And then, of course, always put in some special stuff. I got some surprises coming up for you during the challenge, so I'm excited about that. I'm not going to say what it is, but, tune in. It'll be great. But go ahead and let us know if you're attending. So also on the Facebook page, you can RSVP there. Again, it'll be live streamed. The great thing about that is that those videos will be there, but they'll be going away. So make sure you get part of the training, because once it's done, it's done. And I'll be pulling those videos down. So you'll want to be there in person. If you want to get access to replays, you have to be VIP in order to get access to the replays once the challenge is over. So I'm excited about that. So sign up at the nursesharkacademy.biz, or you can sign up on our Facebook page or on our LinkedIn page, or follow us on our YouTube channel. It'll be there, because I'll be taking those videos and taking them down after the challenge. And so the only people that will be allowed to watch those videos again will be those that go VIP. And of course, I have some special things for you. VIP, you get the access to the workbook. You'll get the live sessions that happen afterwards. And then of course, VIP get a little something thrown in there as well. So I'm excited, looking forward to that. Next week is Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone. Next week is Christmas, so there will not be a live show next week. And I'll have to see. I'm still debating on whether to do a live show on January 1, because that's also on a Wednesday. But you know what? If something happens, I'm probably going to end up doing it. But I'm just letting you know, on Christmas, there will not be a live show next week. But do tune in, because if you listen to our other show, the Nurse Shark Academy show, we just dropped a new podcast episode. And next week, just a little sneak peek. Next week, there's going to be a special episode of the Nurse Shark Academy show that will pop up for you next Monday. So be on the lookout for that. I have a special holiday episode that I wanted to share with everyone, because I know we'll be gone. So I wanted to share that with you. So just keep an eye on what's happening. There's some great things that are happening for the new year, and I'm excited. Those of you that are interested, before I go, on the Baxter Professional Services Health Education side, we have our home health aid class, which will be starting in January. So go to Baxter Professional Services Health Education.com and sign up for our home health aid class if you're interested. And then also in January will be our CNA training class starting as well. So those classes are on the books and ready to get started. Why not, if you get in your tax refund in January, February, why not invest your time in yourself and further your career a little bit? So join us over at Baxter Professional Services Health Education.com, and I'll be posting some information about that as well. So keep an eye on that. If you want to subscribe to our newsletter and keep up with all the information that we have, go on over to the NurseSharkAcademy.biz and sign up for that newsletter. And then coming up in 2025, we'll also have a monthly newsletter for Baxter Professional Services Health Education.com. So you get to sign up for our newsletters to find out what's happening in both of our businesses. I want to thank you for tuning in. I will see you next time. Happy holidays, everyone.